Om Shruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vatarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्ता वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकार निरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यतायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So, we are looking into the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. The word Upanishad which points out the goal of the human being. That goal should be studied under a traditional teacher. Once you start to study, it will disintegrate all the accumulated punya, papa and punya. Because due to papa, the misdeeds, when a human being involved in a misdeed, it generates a result. That result will also bring a body. Not only human body, it can be any body according to one's own misdeed. It can end up in a six-legged creature, or it can be a worm. Anyway, a misdeed will result into so much pain. Similarly, an auspicious action. While you are living in this world, you have done a good action, a noble action. It will also bring a result. That result will cause to get a body to enjoy the result in the form of happiness. So the word Upanishad shows that will be the end of the death and the birth cycle. So 4 or 5 meanings all put together in one single word. The word Upanishad represents the human goal. For what purpose a person has taken a human body, an individual has taken a human body. For the sake of reaching the goal, which is eternal Brahman. Janana, Marana, Rahita, Atma, Aham, Asmi. I am the ever pure self, which is free from death and birth cycle. This is called our goal, human goal, moksham, the fourth goal, and which is the ultimate for a human being. Another meaning, directly one should study under a traditional teacher, no other way. Upa, the word upa represents one should go near to the traditional teacher in order to study an Upanishad. There is no way of reading individually an Upanishadic text, which will end up in a lot of doubts and misconclusions. So one should go to a traditional teacher in order to study an Upanishad. Another meaning is which will disintegrate, which will cause the destruction of all the action which are done in the previous birth, which are going on in this birth, those actions which results are yet to come in the coming births. All these things get distracted due to the knowledge about the self. This is also one meaning of Upanishad. Putting an end for the death and birth cycle of an individual is also called Upanishad. So, the cessation of a death and birth cycle of an individual. All these meanings which we have discussed earlier in the classes before the Upanishad to start. So one should go to YouTube and check whenever there is a confusion regarding the word Upanishad. And Māṇḍūkya, the word came from Māṇḍūkya Rishi. Māṇḍūkya Rishi, one who saw these hymns, these verses from the atmosphere and who has coordinated and who made a book which is Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. If you go analyzing who is Māṇḍūkya Rishi and from where his hymns, everything he got, it's all mysterious. By listening to our traditional teacher, we got this knowledge. If a person is completely free from likes and dislikes, that person will get all kinds of the meaning of the hymns which are there in the atmosphere. You should be free from likes and dislikes. One should be free from likes and dislikes. You are balanced. You are neutralized all your attachment towards the world. From that standpoint, you can see all subtle mantras which are there in the atmosphere. Thus, Māṇḍūkya Rishi collected the verses of Māṇḍūkya Upanishad and put together. Thus, we got Māṇḍūkya Upanishad, and which itself is enough to get the moksha, the goal for a human being. Even though in our tradition we have 10 Upanishads having the commentary of Adi Shankara, but Māṇḍūkya Upanishad itself will give the result of moksha if you study completely under a traditional teacher, word by word meaning, sentence by sentence meaning. So all these things if you analyze, Māṇḍūkya Upanishad is enough for an individual to reach the goal. Thus, we are studying now the Māṇḍūkya Upanishad. We are in the 7th verse of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, which is very important to know word by word and the entire vision of the mantra. I will read the mantra and I will give you the meaning which we have to see more. The mantra will be like this. Māṇḍūkya Upanishad, 7th mantra. Nāntah prajñam, na bahishprajñam, na upayatah prajñam, na prajñānaganam, na prajñam, na aprajñam, atrishtham avyavaharyam, agrahyam alakshanam, achintyam avyapateshyam, ekātma pratyasaram, prapancha upashamam, shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyante sa atma savijñeyaha. What a beautiful one. So, Māṇḍūkya Upanishad have a mantra which is completely giving the vision. This mantra starts negating all the incidental attributes which are superimposed on Atman. I will repeat the sentence. This mantra starts by negating all the incidental attributes which are superimposed on the intrinsic nature of oneself, Atman. Why this mantra doing the negation instead of pointing out the real nature of self? First of all, I have given you a logic in the last class. By removing the idea of the snake on the rock and getting the real nature of the rock are simultaneously one and the same action. Again, I will repeat. The removal of the snake idea on a rock in the darkness, when someone mistaken the rope into snake. Somebody is asking some doubt in the group. Clarify, Kamilaji. When a rope is mistaken into a snake, in the darkness. Now, we just dispelling the darkness. And the snake idea has gone. So, the removal of the snake idea and making understand the real nature of the rope. At once, when you light a lamp inside the dark room, the snake idea is removed. At the same time, the real nature of the rope is being shown. Both are one and the same action, but simultaneously it happens. Here also the same way. I already mentioned you, words can only indicate in 5 categories when the things are there. I already mentioned you the last class. Maybe one category I missed in the last class, activities or action. Substance and attributes, generic and specific things, relationships, activities, conventional meanings. Conventional word, by tradition, when we get some word, and it has this meaning. In these 5 categories, if one thing is there, you can point out through a word. All other cases, words have no scope to indicate an object or a substance. The Atman, the Brahman, which will not fall under any of these 5 categories. It is not a substance, so that it doesn't have any attribute. It will not fall as a thing, so that it cannot be under the category of general or specific. There is no such relationship involved in Atman. Just like a body has some relationship, like part of the body, hand is the part of the body. So we can indicate the word through a word called hand. So there is no relationship through parts for Atman. It is partless. Another is activity. A word can indicate some activities like sleep, run, walk, eat, jump, read. We can use certain words to indicate the activity. Atma is free from all kinds of actions because it is completely full, Purna. When there is no defects or limitations, there is no activities. Now, the last word. Conventional meanings. It is not something which can get from the tradition, from the conventional meanings like Rudi, which is not an object which can be seen through our pratyaksha pramana, like direct perception. To employ a word which is conventional, you should get something in your direct perception or inference or presumption, etc., etc., which is not available. Atman is not available for any of the 5 means of knowledge, like pratyaksham, anumanam, upamanam, arthapatti, anupalabdhi. These 5 types of knowledge, it's not available, means of knowledge. So that is why we cannot directly point out the self through a word, but we can point out by negating the superimposed mistaken ideas and giving the real nature of the individual self or Brahman. This is what being done by the Upanishad. When words are not having the scope to indicate the Atman, we negate all the incidental attributes and we show the real nature. The Upanishad reveals the real nature of the self. Or now I want to show word by word meaning, which we already saw, and we are the half of the way in the last class. Still, I will mention the whole word by word meaning. It will be helpful to grasp. Na antah prajnam. It is not the conscious which is subjective. Antah prajnam. By saying this word, Taijasaha is negated. One who witness the dream, Taijasaha is negated. Na bahish prajnam. not the conscious which is objective. By saying this, Vishwaha is negated. Now, Upayata Prajnam, this is not an intermediate entity which is in between the waking state and the dream state. There is no pointing of an intermediate entity. Now, Upayata Prajnam. Then, Na Prajnana Ghanam. It is not the collective mass consciousness. It is negating the prajnaha, who is the witness, who appears in the deep sleep state. Na prajnana ghanam. Then na prajnam, simple consciousness. It is not the simple consciousness. Taking away all the incidental attributes like the creator, the jiva, etc., etc. Understand? We have some concepts like Ishvaraha, like Mahalakshmi, Mahaganapati, Mahavishnu, Maheshwaraha. There is a Lord in the form of name and form who is wearing the snake, who has a trunk, who has like that. One should know the reality that it is not in the form of Ishvara, neither in the form of Ishvara, nor in the form of Jiva. It's not a simple consciousness. It's limited. Because from the standpoint of that I am a human being, people may conclude as Ishvaraha is being discussed in this verse, and which is according to my concept like some Devata. That's not. Na prajnam. It's not a simple consciousness. All incidental attributes are being negated. Na aprajnam. It is not insentient. Remember that. This is also something very valid point. People have an idea that in the empirical world, clay is insentient. But clay can produce different forms. Like it can be made into a pot, it can be made into a glass. Even in India, you will see mud lamps made of clay, mud tumbler, mud plate. Different types of things are produced from one single clay. So creation can happen like this. From the insentient creator, all the things came out. There can be some idea for somebody. This is being knocked out by saying this. Na aprajnam. It is not insentient. Something which is sentient. Looking at the order in the creation, that itself shows that everything being ordained by a person who is fully conscious. The earth rotates in itself for 24 hours to complete one revolution. It goes around 365 and a quarter days to complete one revolution. The rotation, the revolution, everything is in a rhythm. It will not jump into 25 hours to complete one rotation. It will not jump into 366 days to complete one revolution with the sun. All are just like an order by somebody. A comment is being obliged and respected by the things. In a rose plant, you cannot see a jasmine flower. It's an order. In the jasmine creeper, you cannot see something like rows, etc., etc. Everybody is following an order. Gravitational force is working towards down. Never the gravitational force work towards up. It's an order. Everything work under an order. That itself shows that the creator is fully conscious. So much care and genius in each and every part of creation. If you look at the flower, who arranged the petals very properly inside the flower? Who arranged the pollen inside the flower? Who arranged the seed inside this fruit? Everything is mesmerizing if you think. That itself enough as a logic to understand Lord, the overlordship, who is Brahman. Overlord is Brahman, who is in the form of consciousness, not in the form of insentient. Up to this, we clearly saw in the last class, from Adrishtam also we saw few words. I will repeat again. Adrishtam, not perceived by the sense organs, neither eyes, sense of seeing, sense of listening, sense of smell, sense of taste, and etc., etc. They cannot point out the Atman because these senses are extroverted. These senses can only see something other than them. So, Atman, the individual being oneself, it will not be available as a secondary entity for all these senses. One who is behind all these senses of organs, by whose presence I can listen from the external world. That is Atman. Shrotrasya Shrotram. The ear of the ears means one who is there in the form of consciousness inside the sense of listening, by whose presence I can see the entire world. Chakshushaha Chakshuhu. Same Atharva Vediya Kedopanishad mentions all these ideas, which is not available as an object or substance for the senses to recognize. That is why Adrishtam. Avyavaharyam, not comprehensive. It is not available to have a deal in the world. It is not a thing to deal in the world. Avyavaharyam. For the empirical deal, it is not available. I want to read one sentence from the Bhashya. Let me check. Yasmad adrishtam tasmad avyavaharyam. Shankara says, which is not available for perception, how can we use these things to have an empirical dealing? Then the word agrahyam. Agrahyam represents all kinds of negations from the organs of actions. It is not available for the organs of actions. Grahyam. We can hold something when it is a substance. Agrahyam. Alakshanam. Alakshanam. Lakshanam is an indicatory mark. and it is secondary. When there is an indicatory mark, means other than me, it's a secondary. Duality is been established. When you analyze with the indicatory marks, really speaking, non-duality is not established. Instead of non-duality, Advaitam, Dvaitam is being established. Duality is established. So indicatory mark is not there for Brahman, which itself is not available for Vyavaharam. For example, even the doctors identify whether the baby is a male or female. There are indicatory marks in this human body. Even to confirm whether it is a cow or a buffalo, there are indicatory marks. Like boy or girl, everything has indicatory marks in this world. Through indicatory marks only, we confirm a thing in this world. That which is not available for empirical dealing, that which is not available for perception, that which is not available for the organs of action, it is not available for inference also. Inference can only happen getting some data which is secondary for a person. For example, when it rains in the night and I am in a deep sleep, when I wake up in the morning, I saw some water right in front of my house. Then I infer myself, oh, last night it rained. Because you got some data right in front of your house. Some water is there right in front of your house. Water cannot come unless it's rain in front of the house. So, data are not available to infer whether the Atma is there or not. So it is not available for any means of knowledge. It is not available for direct perception. It is not available for inference. It is not available for perception. It is not available for establishing through non-presence. It is not available for arthapatti. It is another process which is more than inference. So it is not at all available to analyze through some data. Then it is says, Ataha eva achintyam. Achintyam. Mind is familiar to think about the things which are externally perceived. And the mind can only think about limited things. Something which is all pervading, including the mind itself. How can a mind think about something which is oneself? So it is not available for the mind to think. Achintyam. It's not possible. And remember that the consciousness which is all pervading also there inside the body and outside the body. The consciousness which is inside the body think about the external object, and each and every object will becomes a thought, and continuous flow of thoughts are called mind. If you remove the objects which you perceived in the external world or last day or anything, when you remove all the external objects from the thoughts, there is no train of thoughts. There is only one single consciousness. That is why mind is very near to the individual self. When the mind is produced, there are external objects. By the negation of the external objects inside each and every thoughts, the consciousness only remains, and it is called pure Brahman, Atman. So mind and the Brahman are very near. Now, mind is not possible to think because it is not small, it is not a secondary thing, it is not available in the name of or a form. So here it is told achintyam. Ataha eva avyapateshyam. Through words or sound, we can make understand others about an object. We already discussed, which is free from all kinds of sound and words. So it is avyapateshyam, which cannot be indicated through words or sounds. Avyapateshyam. Up to that, okay. Then Shantam. No, Avyapateshyam. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. It is in the form of non-duality. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Pratyaya. The one meaning of the pratyam is consciousness or thought. One single consciousness, which is the base or the substrata of the entire names and forms of the universe. Then it is called Ekatma. There is no two consciousness. There is only one consciousness, which is the base of entire universe. All the names and forms are nothing but the superimposition on this one single consciousness. Non-duality is established by Ekatma Pratyaya Saram, the essence of the universe. Saram means the essence. The essence of each and every thoughts. When we think different things, the essence of the thought, from where the thoughts are appearing, the essence of the thought is mere consciousness. Kevalam bodhameva. That is called Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Then Ekatma Pratyaya Saram Prapancha Upashamam. We already negated the person who is appearing in the different states. Vishwa is negated, Taijasa is negated, Prajna is negated by saying Nantaf Prajnam na Bahish Prajnam na Prajnana Ganam. Remember, by removing the wrong idea and by recognizing the real nature of a thing are one and the same. So here, removing the wrong ideas that all these states are just superimposed on the reality. The Jagrata Avastha, the waking state, is a superimposed form on the real Brahman. The reality is all-pervading Brahman. So here, Prapancha Upashama means we previously negated the person who is appearing in the waking state by saying Prapancha Upashamam. the state itself is getting negated by the Upanishad. Prapancham means we only experience the world or universe in our waking state. In the waking state only, we go for a trekking. We cook good food. We sing a song. We walk through the seashore. We travel. We marry. We enjoy the world. Everything can only happen in the waking state. And it is called Prapancham. The 5 elements are put together in a ratio and it is called Prapancham. The space, water, fire, earth, etc., etc., and the Agasham, Agni, Jalam, Vayu, Prithvi. All these are just a secondary form or other than me, Anatma. Thus, the whole waking state is being negated because waking state is filled with 100% Anatma. I am not available as a goal in the waking state. We cannot see our human goal in the waking state. We are dealing with all kinds of Anatma, other unreal things. That is why Prapancha Upashamam. We negate the entire world and the waking state, etc., etc., all other states through the word Prapancha Upashamam. Only purpose is that in the daytime only you meet your traditional teacher and study and you know the secret of the entire universe. Nothing more than that in this waking state. Waking state itself is negated. Similarly, all other states should be negated because the state, the very word state itself shows that it is not permanent. They are destructible. They are perceiving the duality. They are supposed to vanish after the knowledge. All these things considering, waking state is not at all Atman. Waking state is not at all there for an individual. We are all afraid of the dealings which we have done in the waking state. The waking state itself gets negated by the Upanishad, Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. What to be feared? We are already finished our half of the age. Or you want to fear about what others say or some other things again and again? Remember, we already finished half of our life. What is the point of living after fearing something? You should not fear. Understand? After listening Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad and previously you have listened to Kathopanishad, you should not be a fearsome person anywhere. Fear is something, make us to commit wrong actions. Be bold and be brave, because Upanishad want you as a brave person to deal the entire world and the people with the reality. A snake idea is removed. The rope idea is not brought into. Rope is there even when you impose a snake inside a rope. Rope idea never goes and comes. But snake idea comes and it will depart. Once you understand this is not snake, this is rope, that immediately that thought will go away from the mind. Because snake illusion is not something which is there at all. It is only a superimposition. The superimposition can be negated when you know the real nature of a thing. Thus, we negate the entire thing. Now, what is there after negating? The substratum remains. This is the Purushartha. The entire snake idea is removed. At the same time, the recognition of the real self is being done. Both are one and the same. When you switch on the light, the rope idea comes into picture, and the snake idea will goes from the picture. Both are one and the same action. Here it is being told here. So, avyavaharyam, alakshanam, achintyam. I already mentioned you. Achintyam, that which is not subject to have a thought. Something which is small, something which is compromise, which is subject to compromise. Then only what we can see, prapancha upashamam. The complete destruction of the prapancha. How can be safe when people are busy doing wrong things, slaughtering, catching fish, taking somebody's money and run away? When all the people are completely working together to establish the devil or the misactions in their life, how can he accept the noble people? Even the noble people are interested what they do. So how can I say to a noble person that it's not meant for you? So here Shankara says that from the standpoint of that word, prapancha upashamam, it negates or it will keep safe from the rope and the snake illusion or the subject. When the real nature is appearing, it will be free from all kinds of different impurities. The whole states and the person who appear in the states are being negated. Jagrata avastha, supna avastha, sushupya avastha is not existing inside the Brahman. And the Brahman don't want to make any type of work for them. It's their prarabdha. When we have prarabdha, we have to do certain things. We have to go through some prarabdha in the daily routine. Here, it is told like this. Prapancha upashamam. No attachments towards the world so that I can take. No attachment towards the skirts. No attachment towards the vehicle. No attachment towards my golden chain. No attachment towards anything in the world. Then only you can sit and think about all these things. Suppose any attachment is there, it will become a burden inside your mind. So, often quoted by Adi Shankaracharya, that one should be free from all kinds of attachments. Attachments are the real issues of a person to get obstacles in the pursuit. It can be repeated 5 or 6 times for a person, but the point is attachment being the obstacle, nobody can understand, or that person will not understand what is a real thing. So free from all kinds of attachment is called free from all kinds of attachment will make the person shantam, no other disturbances. The world cannot disturb you because you don't have the attachment towards the world. You don't like, you don't do hate, you don't do anything. You are completely neutral towards everybody. Then Shantam. Shantam means ever peace. Ever peace can only attained by removing this body after listening this secret knowledge. Then it will be easy to cover the entire life with so much pride and attachment. That attachment is not at all an issue to get a birth in the next Janma, not in the next birth. That attachment is not an issue to get a death attachment. So, okay. Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam. Shantam, the calm nature. There is no agendas, there is no something to fulfill, there is nothing to do, plan or anything. He will be completely flexible. In a need, he will be completely flexible. Now, after that, Shantam, now understand, without any disturbances inside due to attachment towards the world. And he don't have anything to fulfill. He don't have any agendas, any target. He is Shantam. Shivam Advaitam. Other two words. Shivam. Only auspicious actions comes towards the world. Shivam. Shivam have different meaning. The particular meaning here is which is free from all kinds of other types of actions. Shivam, auspicious action. Atman has created, due to the superimposition, everything doesn't lack any kind of care or friction. Everything is created by its genius. So Atman is free from all kinds of ragadvesha, and all the time it will only generate auspicious functions. Shantam Shivam Adbhutam. Shivam. It's the time. Shivam. Shivam anything auspicious is called Shivam, Mangalam. Getting into married life, it's Shivam. After a period of time, you need somebody to pamper you. Shivam. Getting into studying of Shastra, Shivam. Getting into some vratas, some daily routine by the help of traditional teacher. It's Shiva. Similarly, lot of things are Shiva. Noble actions are called Shiva. Then Advaitam, non-duality, one without a second, is called Advaitam. This consciousness, which is all-pervading, is one single entity which is all-pervading the entire thing. That is called Advaitam. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Advaitam, the word is very familiar to you. Dvaita Prapancham is also very familiar to you because daily 19 hours you deal with Dvaita Prapancham. Once in a week you come to class and you get inspired. That is not what we want. So, Advaitam, that which is one without a second, Sarvavyapi, Sarva Antaratma, without having any spot, everything is completely fulfilled, Shantam. When you are free from all kinds of desires, you are Shantam. You fulfilled according to the time, age, and limitation, something to eat in the evening, which will be not suitable for others. This is also Advaitam. One who have studied. Oh, today I don't want heavy food, I will take something from outside. And without seeing somebody, you keep in a paper and you stay there. And you eat afterwards 8 o'clock. This is Shantam. Any auspicious function which is being undertaken by the body to survive. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Chaturtham Manya Advaitam. Advaitam means non-duality, which is not separate as subject-object relationship. When there is no subject-object relationship, what can the words can do? Nobody is going to get a name through computer. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Chaturtham Manyante. The fourth. Chaturtham. How the word Chaturtham came here after the cessation? No. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, the succession is Turiyam? No way. After waking state, you can consider the dream state. After the dream state, it can consider the deep sleep state, which are available for your perception. But Turiyam, the Chaturtham, the fourth one is not due to the succession. Because the fourth one is ever present. It is Nityam. It is permanent. That is why all these states are coming and going one after another. One thing should be permanent in order to have an action or a movement. When the road is permanent, you can drive a car on that. When the entity is permanent, you can continue certain movement on the entity. Three states are going and coming means something is staying there without any change. the unchanging entity which is ever present and eternal, and that entity is not the succession of these three states. Only we have to see, after removing all these incidental attributes, what the thing remain. That is being pointed out by saying Chaturtham. Considering the substratum of these three incidental states, that substratum is being considered as the fourth. It is not as a succession of three states. There is no connection between the snake and the rope in a superimposition. Similarly, there is no connection between the states, and there is no connection between the substratum of the states. Everything has removed by giving the right knowledge. The recognition of the substratum by the removal of the three states, that is being pointed out by Chaturtham. More we will see in the next class. Om Susti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yanchoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om